Welcome to Built Environment Assessment Training Module 2. In this module, you will learn how and when to use the Active Neighborhood Checklist. Before starting this module, we highly recommend that you review the Active Neighborhood Checklist sample document and the protocol for using the tool, both of which are located in the resources page for this module. The objective of this course is to become comfortable with the ANC and to know how and when to use it. We'll go through the checklist itself step by step and talk about the circumstances in which you may want to use the ANC to assess a neighborhood environment. The Active Neighborhood Checklist tool examines neighborhood-built environments with an eye towards community use for active living. It was developed to be a short and objective tool that can be easily administered and trained. The format is intended to be user-friendly for a variety of different groups, including community members, healthcare and public health practitioners, and researchers. The ANC is a synthesis of pieces from other audit tools, and to develop the tool, interviews were conducted with researchers and practitioners from urban planning, transportation, or public health to determine which questions they considered most important. The development of the ANC is also distinctive because the authors included community members in its process. Reliability testing was done using 15 public health researchers and 7 community members. The tool had high reliability across diverse areas and higher reliability than most existing built environment audit tools. The tool was not, however, tested across different settings like rural ones. Each section of the ANC provides blank spaces so that an auditor can take notes and provide qualitative perspective. The authors recommend that the tool be augmented with commentary from neighborhood residents, pictures of built environment features, or with longer, more detailed tools if your data needs require those things. When training members of your research staff to use the ANC checklist, the authors recommend a training process consisting of a 2-hour PowerPoint presentation and practice audits. You can use later slides of this presentation to go through the tool with data collectors. Before setting out on data collection, you will need to determine the sample area you'd like to audit and gather the materials you'll need to collect data with the checklist. The ANC enables assessment of land use, public transit access, the quality and navigability of streets, and the overall environment of a sample area. The ANC is designed to collect information about street segments. So to begin, you'll have to choose a sampling area of street and divide it into segments. You might decide to focus your sample around a specific destination, like a town center or train station. You may choose to use already defined city or neighborhood boundaries, or you can investigate the routes between 2 destinations of interest. After demarcating your audit area, you'll divide it into segments, and you can collect data in all your segments, or take a random or stratified sample. When identifying street segments, be sure to assign them each unique identifiers for auditing so you can keep track of them. And next, you'll have to outline the segments on maps so that your auditors can refer to them while out in the field. Intersections can be used to naturally divide the segment. If a road has only few intersections, you can divide it into quarter-mile segments. When you head out into the field to begin an audit, you will need copies of the ANC tool with a pencil and a pen, and a map with your auditing segments delineated and identified. You may also wish to bring a clipboard, comfortable shoes, a watch or cell phone, sunscreen, umbrella, and a camera. With practice, each segment can be audited in 5 to 10 minutes and should be completed on foot. Before beginning your audit, the ANC guidelines suggest walking the segment once to observe the environment, including the street, sidewalks, signs, and buildings. During this walkthrough, check to make sure that street elements won't be double counted in audits of other segments. For buildings on corners or intersections, check the street address of the building and assign it to the segment associated with that street. Parking lots also have potential to be double counted. If a lot is associated with a building, count the parking lot on the segment to which the building belongs. If it is not connected to a building, audit it on the segment that bears the parking lot entrance. Next, we'll go over each section of the ANC instrument together. As a checklist, the ANC is very easy to use. However, it covers a lot of potential assets for physical activity, so we'll take some time in this training to walk through each section and define what each means, with examples. The first auditing section on the ANC tool is for land use analysis. The tool allows for a variety of categories that start broad and slowly require more details about the types of buildings in your sample area. The classifications begin with residential or non-residential. That is, are most buildings in the area homes or apartments or not? Next, the predominant land uses are observed. When differentiating between vacant lots, undeveloped land, and designated green spaces, keep in mind that vacant lots are large lots about the size of a building that show visible signs of neglect. Some examples are parking lots that are closed to the public and have not been kept up. And in contrast, undeveloped land is a large area of natural space that is not maintained by public or private entities, like a forest or an overgrown field. Designated green spaces are large areas of natural space that are open to the public and maintained by public or private groups. Think of a park or a sports field or a football pitch. Abandoned buildings or homes are uninhabited buildings that show signs of disrepair. Do not include buildings that are vacant but have for sale signs on them unless there are obvious signs of neglect. You will next audit the types of residential uses and functional parking facilities present in the sample. When recording on-street parking, only count it if there are signs, markings, or parked cars on the segment. If on-street parking is limited, like only being permitted on weekends or evenings, then do not count it here, but be sure to record it in the notes section. Public recreational facilities and equipment should be observed on the segment, but remember to only count those facilities that are open to the public and document any private facilities in the notes section of the tool. There are 4 questions that the authors designate as optional. They are types of non-residential land use, specific types of destinations, educational facilities, and large buildings, either housing uses or business uses. You may want to note these things if you'd like to measure the kind of neighborhood amenities that are available in the segment you're assessing. In the notes area of the land uses section, you can identify other things like major features of the natural landscape, major barriers to use of the area, or other distinct uses of land that you notice. In the next section of the tool, you'll note whether there is a public transit stop available. This includes a bus stop, train stop, or other types of transportation that might be available. In the notes space at the end of the section, describe the condition of the transit stop, including whether it has amenities that would make it easy or attractive to use, or if it is dirty or inaccessible, discouraging use. The characteristics of the street itself are next considered in the ANC audit. First, note speed limits and special speed zones, for instance near schools, construction zones, or sharp turns in the roadway. Characteristics of street lanes are next observed. Write down the total number of street lanes, exclude turning and parking lanes from this total. Document the presence of marked lanes, that is, lanes with lines to delineate separation. Also, look for a median or a pedestrian island, which is a raised island or refuge for pedestrians between lanes of traffic. Pedestrians must be able to stand on this island, so do not count it if it's too narrow or too landscaped, preventing functional use. The ANC also asks the rater to observe stop signs, traffic lights, walk signals, and crosswalks. Traffic calming devices are also important to locate on a segment. These devices are designed to reduce traffic speed or vehicle volume and might include roundabouts, brick roads, speed bumps, flashing speed signs, or any other devices the segment might have. Finally, the presence of a cul-de-sac should be noted, and if there is a cul-de-sac, auditors should look for a sidewalk or path that connects the cul-de-sac to other streets. In the notes section, you might describe any street characteristics that could influence a pedestrian or bicyclist's feelings regarding comfort or safety. This might be traffic volume and driver speed, the aggressiveness of drivers, or conditions of crossing aids or pedestrian medians on the street. Include any other street characteristics that could aid in developing the most inclusive view of the segment. Next, you'll assess the quality of the pedestrian environment and evaluate what may facilitate or discourage a walker or cyclist's use of the space. First, the ANC tool asks you to evaluate the presence of commercial buildings on a sidewalk that can be accessed without walking through a parking lot. A person may wish to walk along a segment if they can easily access things like restaurants or shops. Further pedestrian amenities might include functional drinking fountains, pedestrian-scale lighting, and benches on sidewalks so long as they're usable. Be sure not to count benches within parks or gated areas along the segment. Public art like statues, sculptures, fountains, and murals can also affect the perceived quality of pedestrian environments. This is only an evaluation of public art, so any art that might be on private land or in a commercial space should not be included here. Next, record the presence of incivilities like graffiti, broken or boarded windows, and litter. In the notes section, be sure to specify the incidence on this segment of these incivilities, which may make walking or bicycling through the area infeasible, unsafe, or undesirable. You can also record the amount of shade on the segment and the intensity of the slope. Finally, as with other sections, there is a note space here where the rater should note distinct features that enhance or detract from a pedestrian's walking experience. For example, in this photo, we might see that snow and the presence of garbage could make it difficult to cross the street at this particular intersection. In this section, the resources available in a segment for walking or bicycling are evaluated. Sidewalks are assessed first for buffers like grass, trees, flower pots, or bollards that separate pedestrians from traffic. Sidewalk continuity is also noted. Excluding driveways, does the sidewalk go all the way through the segment? Also observe if the sidewalk is continuous beyond the end of the segment. The width of a sidewalk might impact the ability of a wheelchair to utilize it, so observe for the ADA standard of greater than 3 feet wide. Some users of this tool may wish to expand the criteria to greater than 5 feet, which is acceptable. If the width of the sidewalk is less than 3 feet for any bit of the segment, be sure to make note of this. Next, note if there are missing curb cuts or ramps at intersections or driveways, which could prevent bicyclists or people in wheelchairs from accessing the sidewalk. Do not count short curbs lower than 4 inches, as those can be mounted by bikes and wheelchairs. Permanent obstructions such as trees, signs, street furniture, telephone poles, or fire hydrants might inhibit travel along the segment. Do not include temporary blockages, which might be caused by items like cars, bicycles, garbage bins, leaves, or branches. If there is not a sidewalk present, look for alternative resources for walking or bicycling. For instance, there may be an unpaved pathway that is well worn, or a street or shoulder that is safe to walk on. In the notes section, record the condition of the elements discussed above or other significant sidewalk-related features that might be present, like ice or snow. The last section of the checklist on shoulders is optional based on the characteristics of your segment and the data you need for your audit. When evaluating for the presence of shoulders, look for clear indications of a bike route, either on the road itself or in signage. An on-street, paved, or marked shoulder includes paved but not gravel areas that are wide enough to walk or bike in, that is, greater than or equal to 2 feet wide. Do not count shoulders that are intended only for parking. Like with sidewalks, the ANC also asks you to inspect shoulder width and continuity. And you'll continue your audit with appraisal of permanent obstructions in the path. Unlike with sidewalks, parked cars on shoulders count as permanent here. You can note temporary obstructions like fallen branches in the notes box if they're relevant. If there is no shoulder, record if there is an alternate safe place to bicycle, such as the street itself, a wide outside lane, or other areas. And finally, document any other significant findings in the shoulder notes box. Congratulations! You now know how to use the ANC. To take this module's quiz and test your assessment skills, return to this module's webpage. There, you'll also find resources for additional reading and practice about the ANC, and the full audit tool which you can use to assess your neighborhood. See you in the next module.